The mic wasn't even on. Good job. Been doing this for almost 3 months now. I'm still a noob. Alright. Okie doke. Let's see what we can put in the background. Okay. So, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish this piece. So what I've done off stream, if you don't remember last week, I tried to do an art stream and because I wanted to go through all the texturing and lighting and rendering processes for this piece, but the fucking keyshot killed my CPU and I couldn't stream and have keyshot open at the same time because the stream would just lag out. So I was forced to kind of do it all off stream. In the future, I guess we're gonna have to go and learn some Blender just to be able to texture and render in the future on stream, because as it stands, my PC can't handle both streaming and a live rendering software like Keyshot. It is what it is. I wanted to move away from Keyshot for a while now because it is kind of ass, as all modern 3D software go. Keyshot is becoming more and more kind of obsolete and slow and just redundant. Either way, so what we're gonna do today is I have my passes ready, all rendered out at 4K resolution, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna composite them all in Photoshop and kind of finish the piece in Photoshop so that it's gonna be ready to post tonight. Actually, I haven't dropped my clown pass in. There we go. So I guess might as well explain this while we're on it. So when you render out your work, it works in every software. Doesn't matter what you're using. In Keyshot, it's really easy. On the rendering screen, you just have your actually I can just show it because I can open Keyshot and show the UI without logging. Right. So see, like this Keyshot works fine, but whenever the scene, I had something like north of 30 million polygons in the scene, and so whenever such a heavy scene comes into the Keyshot, the CPU, it basically just not crashes the CPU, but it uses like almost 100% of my CPU. Keyshot is a heavily CPU based software, and because I don't have NVIDIA GPU, I can't switch it. Usually there is a switch and you can switch it to a GPU mode instead, but I have an AMD GPU, and so there's another issue. Keyshot as of now doesn't support AMD for whatever reason, which sucks because I have a pretty good AMD GPU and probably would be able to handle a lot in Keyshot, and probably would be able to stream at the same time if Keyshot, if you know, I can, whatever that, who made Keyshot? Anyway, the point is, if they did have support for AMD, it would have been a different story. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to show you. So in Keyshot here, you're able to render all these passes separately. If you want to, you can take all of them and it will render all of them separately into your render folder, or you can like tick whatever you need separately and it will only render out those along with your final render. So this is very handy, and this probably like every other renderer and software has this in some capacity on your rendering options, on your rendering UI. You will be able to find this type of setup for render passes. Like for example, even ZBrush has that. So yeah, and that's what happened. So while I was rendering the final piece, it also rendered out the clown pass. Why I need clown pass? Basically, this is a very unique technique that I learned from doing visualizations and working with visualizers in the interior design or architectural design industry. All of them, when they're doing architectural visualizations, they render out clown passes, and it's like a mandatory thing. All of them do that. All the professional interior and architectural visualizers, they do like ambient occlusion pass, lighting pass, shadow pass, clown pass. So basically what clown pass does is every mesh, every object that has its own texture in the scene will have a separate flat shader on it, separating them from each other. So basically what that means is I can easily select my Magic Wand tool, and if I just want to select or work on, let's say, the horns, I could just easily press this, select both of these, select the one in the back, and then hide this layer, go into this layer, and now I have them selected on this layer, and what I can do is basically I can do whatever I want with it, and whatever I'm doing is only affecting the selected areas. And this is very handy when you have a lot of things going on, so you don't have to go in and, like, for example, these spikes, if I wanted to tweak them or change them or whatever, do some adjustments to them, I would have to go into my pen tool, go like this, select them separately, then, I don't know, go again, like here, 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 like this, and then do this for each and every spike, and then select them, and then do what I need to do. But with the clown pass, I just come in here, pick my selection tool, just select all of them, hide the clown pass, go back to the layer, and voila, I have all of them selected. Pretty fucking cool. So it's just a huge time saver if you know that you're gonna be doing a lot of editing in Photoshop post rendering. Just make sure that you know always have your clown pass rendered out as well. It just will save you that much time. Also, you know, you can do crazy stuff like you can like blend it in if you want, like, you know, into crazy stuff with it as well. Like, but predominantly it's used to be able to, it's basically used like a mask, like a masking layer for selection of every individual part of the model of the scene easily. Because in, for example, interior visualization visuals, you're gonna have, like, if it's a restaurant, you have a lot of elements usually in those areas, like you know, dozens of chairs, like tons of tables, tons of I don't know, maybe little decoration decoration elements on walls and within the interior space, and I don't know, maybe small details like trims around the lights or flooring, for example, and to be able to select them really quickly and separate them and work on them separately in Photoshop or whatever editing software you're using, Clown Pass just works wonders. Because, for example, again, and I'll just give this example because it's the craziest example that I can give is when you have a render of a restaurant interior and you want to select the floor, and then just change it or, like, you know, edit it in some way, but you have all this stuff that's on the floor already, like all these chairs. Like, imagine, like, I don't know, tens of pairs of chairs and tables. Like, let's say you have, I don't know, 20 tables in the space, and you have chairs, and then you have like columns, and then you have doors, and I don't know, like all this crazy stuff, like small partitions, walls, and all of that is on top of your floor. So if you wanted to select the floor out of all that, you would have to manually go and, again, with the pen tool or with your selection tool, go and kind of cut it out piece by piece, but it will just take so much longer, because in that scenario you're gonna have a lot of small pieces on that image, because it's a perspective, right? So the further away chairs and other elements are from the camera, the smaller the parts that you need to cut out become. And so it's a lot of finicky details like that that you're gonna have to work with. And if you have a Clown Pass, you don't really have to worry about it. You just click, 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 click. Even if it's a small piece that you need to zoom in on, zoom in, you just click in that area and then select it for you, and boom, all done. Anyway, so that's the Clown Pass. That's why we need it. Also, I have two different well, I don't know why it sounded like that. Two different renders. Why I have two different renders? Because this was my first render and I did not like it. I didn't like the way it came out. I didn't really like the, you know, the textures felt kind of flat a little bit. The lighting was a bit too dark on this right horn. I felt like you don't really see that little statue too much. And I didn't really like the way the texture came out on the skull itself, because there's a lot of detail that's in the model already, and this shader made it feel quite matte, which is not what I wanted to go for. Which is why I then re-rendered it with different shaders, something that's more akin to like a, I don't know, like a fossilized kind of bone, you know, like something that's more like granite or old kind of stony material, because I want this to look more like a statue or like a fossilized kind of skull that's been that's ancient, that's been there for a long time. And so I kind of spent a little bit more time, which is it sucks that I couldn't do it on stream, because that's like it's an important process. So I'll have to, in the future, I'll have to figure out the way to kind of still be able to show you guys how I'm going about this, because it is texturing and shading and lighting is what kind of takes your model to the next level. That's what kind of injects life into your scene. But now I need to blend them in, because if you notice, I have these little runes on her face that are carved in, and on my first render I have them in copper. And I have them in copper because I wanted to try a like a relatively new feature in Keyshot, which is texture painting. To be honest, I hated it because it was super slow in Keyshot. Like, everything is just laggy, even on the performance mode. It's not responsive. It took a very long time just to do these simple things, like this 1 2 3 4 5 6 runes, to paint them in with another material and have this kind of split here, and which is, I want to say, a scar, but it's not a scar, it's more of a crack in the face. And so that alone took me, something that I could do in Substance Painter in like minutes, took me like almost 2 hours in Keyshot. It's because I've never used that feature before. I wanted to try it, and I wanted to kind of get it done that way. And so I kind of just powered through and done it, but I fucking hated the final render anyway. So what I wanted to do right now is I want to bring these paint-ins forward so that we can see them on this render. And the lighting is a little bit different, so we'll see if it still can work together, because I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna paint them over again and then re-render this again, because I'm kind of tired of this piece already. I want to finish it and then post it. So we'll see if it works the way I want to do it. If it does, great. If it doesn't, maybe I'll just paint it in some way, in some capacity in Photoshop, and then we'll just try to go with another route. But for now, yeah, and maybe we can still blend them together in some other ways as well. So let's see. First of all, we need to duplicate this layer. We need to put it on top of our main layer. Let me call this my main layer. Let's call this runes. Let's call this main mask. Yeah, again, so I have so basically this render is just a JPEG, meaning it's not transparent. Like, I have the background with me. The black background is on the image, but I also rendered a PNG with an alpha, which means that this layer doesn't have a background, so I can just control click on the layer and it will select the entire model for me, so I don't have to cut it out. Basically, it's like a bigger version of the Clown Pass. It's just everything together, so I can, select it on this layer. I don't even have to have it on. I can just be on this layer. Let me turn it off. Be on this layer, but then hover my mouse over that layer with the PNG, then hold Control and click on it, and it will select my model for me. But the only issue is you're gonna have to, when you import them, you're gonna have to make sure that they're the same aspect ratio, the same size, the same pixel ratio, so that when you drop them on top of each other, they don't misalign. So they're like on top of each other exactly perfectly, and they don't move. Otherwise, like, so for example, if I were to move this layer, and then go back to this layer, sorry, let's go back. I had them both selected. So if I move it like this, but then turn it off, and select it, you see it selects, it's offset basically because that layer is moved and it's not positioned properly. So we have to make sure that everything's perfectly aligned, and it's easy to do. It's just when you first drop your drop everything into Photoshop, you can either drop them all as a combination of files. You just you know, like select all of them together and then drop them like that, or you just drop them one by one, but you don't do anything. You just drop one, then press enter, drop another one on top of it, press enter, and then just do that for all your passes or layers. And they will all, if they're all in the same size, they all will align perfectly and kind of fall on top of each other. Anyway, that's enough about the layers. Let's get to work. So now we have our runes on top. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna mask it. Press mask. Now it's selected a mask for us. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Control I to reverse the mask, which will basically make the entire layer invisible. And then we're still selecting the mask. We're not selecting the layer, we're selecting the mask. What we're gonna do now is just bring that layer back in the places we need it to be. So we zoom in here, we go to yeah, so make sure you're on your brush, not your eraser, on your brush, and the color is white. Basically, white is visible, black is invisible. Turn your pen pressure on. Maybe opacity is a little lower. I think 80 should be fine. Let's start with 80. And just paint it in. And there you go. It should come out perfectly in the exact places you need it to be. There you go. So far, so good. Sometimes it does that. So it's a bug in Photoshop. I don't know why it does that. Ooh. Cool. So now we know it works. I'm not sure about the lighting yet, but let's see. Let's just paint it in first, and then we can figure it out with the lighting. There we go. And don't be afraid to make mistakes here, because even if you like paint somewhere else, you can always either Control Z that, or you can, let's say you paint it like here, just go back to the eraser, and eraser basically flips your color, and it will just erase what you've drawn out. This is gonna be tricky because I can't see shit. Okay. Let's see here. No. Okay, so there's nothing there. Again, I wish this render would come out a little bit better because, again, these, like for example, look at the metal texture on the spikes and how shiny and reflective it is, and on the skull itself, it's very matte. It doesn't really reflect or shine as well. It shines somewhat closer to the light source, obviously, but it's not as reflective. And I only noticed it after it was rendered because the scene was heavy and while I was working on it, it didn't really, because eShot has a live engine, so it's always rendering. As you work on it, it's always rendering. It's not like you work on a performance or a work view or some shit. Like it's always like, it depends. You can put it into performance mode, but for the most part you want to work on the actual setting that you're going to be rendering at. And that was the whole point of KeyShot, is that it's a live physical rendering software. So basically you making your adjustments in real time, and they're immediately visible. But you need an insane PC to be really efficient in KeyShot. Like if your scene is anything like this, which is not even that big of a scene, to be honest, but I did have a lot of detail on this skull, so it ended up being like 20 something million polygons just on the skull, and then everything else together, so it came out to like, I think 31 or 32 million, and it's a significant scene. It's a big scene, especially for KeyShot. And so a lot of the, and again, when you work with materials like glass, like emissives and metals, especially multi-layered metals like this skull, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier in keyshot, and so when you're working on it, you don't exactly get the real-time perfect view of the changes right away. Like you have to stop working on it, let it kind of sit there and render in real time a little bit before moving anything or moving the camera, even, because even if you tilt the camera slightly, it will start re-rendering, right? So you have to, and that makes it a long work, a long pipeline, because you have to make the changes and then wait for it to render in front of you, see if it affected anything, then if it didn't, do more changes, wait for it to render again, and so forth and so forth. And so it was taking too long, and I wasn't getting this feedback fast enough, so I was kind of like just, eyeballing it, kind of looking at it maybe in 10% quality, and then see, okay, maybe it's not, well, because I've been working with the software for a long time. I kind of know what I'm looking for by now. And I can see most things even at 10% quality if they're working or not. But this is a good example of something that you don't really understand until you fully render it out. And it took about 4 hours to render. So I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna just change the materials completely, render it out again, and then try to Photoshop it together. Because I don't have time to kind of keep on rendering for 4 hours every time. I need to move quickly. Anyway. But at a distance, I guess it works somehow. A little bit. What we can do is we can maybe boost this even further. There we go. There we go. One sec. I need to get my glasses. My old ass can't see. Let me holler at my Instagram. Gotta let them know we're live. So. Hello, TechLight. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. Thank you. The details are pretty dope. So. Now that we're good with the runes, is there anything else that we want to kind of... maybe we can automate this. See? Nah, that's too bright. God damn. Full view is very nice, yeah. Been, is that a Lord of the Rings OST? You know it. You know it, baby. Ain't nothing better. If you, want to watch the full WIP of this piece, I was, working on it for a couple of weeks now. First 3 episodes should be on my YouTube channel right now. Today is kind of like the final episode for this piece. I call this Macabre Mondays. So Mondays are my art streams when I'm doing this kind of shit. You're in a cafe and got the trilogy in your bag right now? I got my trilogy right there. Signed by none other but than Andy Serkis himself. Right there. The Blu-ray set. It is what it is. You meant the books? Oh, well, books are great as well. No shame in that. Some say might be even better. Do I play games on my other days? Yes. On my other days, I do play games. If this art piece is not a an indication, I do play Diablo 4 a lot recently. Well, since it came out, really. But we are going to be moving into Path of Exile this Friday because the new league is coming out. I also play, you know, variety of stuff. I am going to be checking out Lords of the Fallen when it comes out. I do really want to play Baldur's Gate. But I don't know if I'm going to be getting it on PC. You've been getting back into the ARPGs recently? Yeah, I feel like with the Diablo 4 release, everybody is getting back to the ARPG. Yeah, everybody's getting back into the ARPGs because of Diablo 4, I feel like. But I've been an ARPG player for probably my whole life. Like yesterday, I actually played, if you want to check out my stream from yesterday, I was playing Sacred. It's a 20-year-old game that I used to play when I was a kid. I had a blast yesterday. It's a very shitty game from like 20 years ago, but it was one of the most... one of the ARPGs that I have a lot of memories from. Yeah, it's like this, Boom. And now we do... Can we do here? Multiply. Multiply. And then maybe 70%. 75, 80? 20, 70. Boom. Perfect. Oh, D2 is great, man. D2 is the GOAT. Are you playing the remastered version? D2 was like one of the first ARPGs I played as a kid. Even before I played Sacred. Diablo 2 is the reason why I kind of went into the whole ARPG direction and started like discovering all these other wacky ARPGs like Sacred, and I remember playing Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2. Divinity, all those crazy games. Sorceress is the best class by far, but I do like my Necromancer builds, especially Poison Necro. Pretty chill. Really hard on hell though, but still fun. I like my poison builds. Like for example in Path of Exile, I mostly just play poison builds. Alright, so now we want to push this shit. The gem, the soul stone. We want it to glow a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select him. Oops. Go and select it. Make it a little bit brighter. And now we can add some glowing to it. So it's important for this to have really low opacity on the brush, because otherwise it's just gonna be too much. This is already too much. So maybe if we're like do hard light maybe? Yeah, there you go. That works. You've played a bit of PoE, but PoE 2 seems much more interesting to me. Wish it wasn't so far off. Yeah, PoE 2 was great. Again, I have a reaction video on my YouTube channel. Yeah, that game is gonna slap so hard. I can't wait for it. It does look a lot harder though than PoE 1. I would recommend dabbling in PoE 1 until the PoE 2 has come out, so that you at least understand the basics of the franchise, like how the skills work, how the interactions between the skills and support gems work and all that, because for the most part it's going to be the same in terms of skill mechanics. I also want to add some smoky stuff around that. So we have our smoke brushes. So we'll see what works. That work? I don't think so. That could work. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, I like that. So this vivid light filter creates this little variation in the coloring, so that towards the outside the streaks of smoke become a little bit darker, and that kind of creates a lot more atmosphere depth. I like it. That's pretty cool. Apparently they bumped up the difficulty for the testing and slowed down. Yeah, they did all that, yeah. Because otherwise it wouldn't be interesting, you know? Because it is a show, it's an event, they had to, like, make it a spectacle. But regardless, it's going to be now, with the addition of dodge roll, it's going to be like Dark Souls of the ARPG genre. It's still going to be harder than PoE 1 in that regard, because you're not going to have any movement skills. You're only going to have your dodge roll. At least it's not confirmed yet that they're going to have any movement skills. So far, everybody's saying that they won't. Okay, what else can I do with this? How can we... Oh, this is sick. Nice, I like this brightness. Maybe a little less. 25. 30. Nice. They baked movement into a lot of melee skills. Yeah, it's the one that they were showcasing on the monk. Yeah, but that's not sufficient, right? You can't call that a movement skill. Not how it is in PoE 1 anyway. Like your flame dashes and whirling blades and all that shit. It just moves the character a little bit, but that's not... And also, I don't think it has the invincible frames at all. I don't know if the dodge roll has invincible frames. I don't think so. You literally have to, like, perfectly time everything. Now, what I also wanted to do is I wanted to brighten up this angel statue. So it's not as lost. Why are you not working? What? So confused. Oh, right. Right. So what do? We can. So what the fuck is happening here? I don't like these artifacts. Right, so just trying to think. So now we're gonna have to select the angel, go back to this, and mask this. Put this, turn that back on. Now we only have the angel selected. Okay. Still doesn't work. Oh, yes, of course. So that didn't work because I'm selecting the mask. And you can't really do anything with the mask, so you have to select the actual layer. There we go. Now we don't want it to pop too much, because otherwise... The whole process for this piece and done in Photoshop, or did I use some other program? The pipeline is it starts with ZBrush. It's being sculpted out in 3D, and then it goes into Keyshot, where I apply textures and lighting, and then render it out, and then that render goes into Photoshop, and we're editing it in Photoshop. Let me see if I can show you here. Basically, here's my Instagram. And I've just posted this today. Oh, yesterday, sorry. A progress time lapse. So here I am, in the beginning there I was in ZBrush, and then I rendered it out like a base render, and I took it to Photoshop to kind of figure out the composition and sketch it out and see where the elements would go. To kind of have like a roadmap in my mind of where to put it. All these smaller details, and then I'm going back to ZBrush and I'm sculpting it to finish the piece. Adding detail. So it's basically like sculpting in real life, but in 3D. That's it. Yeah, and so that was the end of that day. And then day 3 video will probably come out tomorrow on Instagram, but the full day 3 sculpt process is on YouTube right now. And then, yeah, I took it into another program to texture it and light it and render it, and now we're back in Photoshop with those final renders, and here we are, almost ready to go. Now, I want to save this. Yeah, no worries, tech. It's all good. I teach design students from time to time on professional basis, so it's all in a day's work. I do need to do something about this fucking shit. Doesn't look natural to me. I don't know why. The second reflection. Fucking. That's better. Much better. Here we go. So now, do I want to do some for the background? That's always the question. Yes, it is her. It's Mommy Lilith. Indeed. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. Hold on. Yeah, I thought so. So now the problem is I already have a mask on the Slayer. So maybe I can do this.
I hold your oath fulfilled.
Thank you for the follow, Tech. I do indeed hold your oath fulfilled. Okay, I think I know what to do. I'll just... Header. Go. Boom. Where's me music? Right. Horns. Now... or dodge overlay. Because I want him to be slightly darker than the rest of the skull. I think that works. Actually, perfect. Nice. I will also do the same thing to bottom horns. Why the fuck not? Soft light. Soft. Boom. There we go. I don't know if I like them on the bottom like that. Top work better. Maybe 50. Yeah. That kind of works. Now. Have blue here. Oh, I love this area right here. Oh, that lighting. Oh, look at that. Oh, so good. Oh, even here. So good. Um, yeah. Now I can work more easily. Basically, what I've done is I uh, completely masked out the main layer so that I can put a background layer and just paint the background without any problems. This without having to paint over the top or having to cut it out later. You know, there you go, just like that. I don't know if it's too much. Is it too much? Might be. That might work. Oh shit. Need another layer underneath. So that when I reduce opacity, it's just... Also, I kind of want to mask this a little bit. So it looks like she's disappearing into the mist, to the red mist. Hmm. You like that glow mist? Thing is now it's like almost cartoony looking. Because we have bright color, bright color, bright color, and then weird red. Let me... Hmm. Let me try this. So by slightly reducing the saturation on the main piece, we make this red stand out a little more. And it's actually kind of like now falls in line with like a darker, more desaturated like aesthetic of Diablo as well. Diablo is never like a cartoony fucking rainbows game, you know? It's not a Chuck E. Cheese time. It's saturated, gloomy darkness time. And what we can add here, well, Maybe some flames. Yeah. Kind of nice with it. Oh, look at that. Woo-wee! Oh, look at that. Ooh. Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. Yeah. I think this is it. So now I want to see what it will look like on a square. So what we do is we just create 1080 by 1080, which is the default size of the Instagram post. And then we just drop it in here. See how much we cut. How much does it cut, rather? Fuck, a lot of heat. Nah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this framing for a like a simple grayscale render. Because I'm gonna make another post from different angles where I'm just using where I'm not using rather these complicated textures, just like a grayscale render of the whole thing. And there I can maybe frame it like this. But I believe at first we should post the full image. It is what it is. Not bad, not bad. I dig it. I digs it. So I wanna kind of stretch it so it looks more like it's, coming up. A little more subtle. Cool. Thanks, Tech. Appreciate you being here. Keeping me company. The hell? Hello? Why is my Wacom not working? The fuck? We are done. Leave this puppy out. And the details came out real nice on the horns. God damn. Thanks, man. Not entirely yet. I think I kind of want to do something original in terms of the character. Maybe I'll practice like you know, creating my own character for once, or Because Mortal Kombat is coming out soon. Maybe I'll do something for that. For the release of Mortal Kombat. That's probably more likely. And then I'll do something original. Damn, I'm really liking the horns. Like, out of everything else, I think the horns came out the best. Do I have any characters I'm looking forward to? Oh, absolutely. I loved Smoke gameplay from the other day, from the combat cast, and I mean, you know, I was already sold on Smoke when the very first trailer came out with Smoke, I mean. And was already like, okay, he's gonna be my day one main. But I am looking forward to Shang Tsung yet, but we haven't seen any gameplay from Shang Tsung, so I don't know how he plays. Hell yeah, brother. Triborg Smoke was my main in MKX as well. Triborg Smoke and Quan Chi. And funny enough, in this game, I'm getting them again, like, but, you know, I get a Human Smoke variation of the character, and Quan Chi is coming as a DLC. I'm so fucking stoked for Quan Chi. So yeah, I'm planning on maining Smoke, probably. Smoke / Shang Tsung, depends on how Shang plays. But, definitely Smoke. And when Quan Chi comes out, Quan Chi. Yeah, nah, he looks great. But I'm a little bit bummed because I'm not getting Noob Saibot in this game. Maybe he'll come in later DLCs, but for now, it's kind of sad that he's not. Because Noob Saibot is my all-time favorite. But, you know, Smoke is a good compromise. Because we haven't had them in MK11. Yeah, it's kind of funny, like when Noob Saibot is not in the game, I choose Smoke as my main and vice versa. Because MKX didn't have Noob Saibot either, right? So I was playing Smoke. Well, okay. I think we're done with this puppy. You can follow me on Instagram and stay tuned. I'm probably gonna be posting it tomorrow morning because I do need to sleep on it and kind of maybe take another fresh look at the piece tomorrow. Maybe I'll find some more tweaks that I need to make.